Hi everyone, my name's Amina. I am a poet and I'm going to be reading some poems in response to today's exhibition. The first poem I'm going to be reading is actually in response to the photograph over there. It's called Colour in Ghana. Gold drips from wrists and flesh like a bodice drawn in chalk over the chest. Traffic stops for these churchgoers, faith lovers, export mothers, fashion owners, high exposure. Oil slips as if the first client of skin. One woman stares directly at me, her body angled towards the sun, a double spread, hard-working beauty. Malice knows no lover. This is the Accra James has become. Gratitude is in head crowns, banana stools, and nerves turning you away from the future. My niece asked me if these women know they are forever living in photos. I think we all hope for that, to be immortalized in color, without the burdens of ancestry or washed pigment, but the potential of clashing prints and photo catalogs, to overcome first daughter syndrome, derailment, tiredness. Baskets weave on the side of the road and non-existent pavements. Accra, Nairobi, Lagos, now Mogadishu. Pigment floats on a beach. Water reflecting in 4D. Could be 1 week or 20 years. My auntie adorns a red bandana, a challenge to the government. Her daughter went missing, and in her grief, she becomes a rock thrower, a house turner, a stand on your front lawn mother, a protester. She doesn't wait for justice. James captures protest elegantly, as if anger walks concrete in hills. I am taken back to drive-thrus, leaning between the seats, saying, "No cheese in the burger, please, uncle." "Okay, 2 cheeseburgers." "No, uncle, no cheese in the burger." 3 cheeseburgers, my uncle says, holding my sister outside of a studio, slowly devouring a cheeseburger. 30 chews per mouthful is a demonstration in burials. The neighbor pokes his head out of their gate. We share a tree. My dad battled in court for years as the branches invaded his personal space. There are more important things to fight for, we all thought. Missing children, corruption, the cost of living. Some may say he was avoiding fatherhood or debt, fixating on a tree. We say no comment, but let gold drip from wrists and earlobes, no floating pigment for us, still paying in generations of tension and of heartbreak. Cool. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to read 2 more poems which are not directly in response to this beautiful exhibition. I'm a Somali writer. I write about memory a lot, and this particular poem is about a 1980s Somali funk band which originated out of Mogadishu. It's called Mogadishu Funk, A History of Migration. Durdur first discovered jazz before the war. All saxophones and good vibrations. They say it sounded like the adhan, the call to prayer, all intimate. They say it sounded like a pre-wedding night, both holy and forbidden. Jazz makes people electric before most of the country had electricity. For a while, they kept trying to smooth out the creases, like the sound was a fabric, their tendency to make everything flat, but not jazz. Durdur flee. Some to Europe, others from states to states, all away from home. Cassette tapes are buried along with bodies. They should have never started singing in the first place. All hell breaks loose. The people think Dajjal has arrived or Iblis. They see the moon split like the land. Yajuj and Majuj, Isa descending into Damascus, a cloud of smoke. Yom al-Qiyamah, the day of reckoning. They thought it was Iblis, but it was just Siyad. Durdur are part of the diaspora, kids and grandkids. Language turns from Af Somali to Af English to Af Dutch and back to Af Somali, but by choice this time. Ma'awises are ditched for bootcut jeans, Hidia Dagan for miniskirts and tube tops. Michael and Prince are our uncles now. The moon splits again, but this time it's like a baby opening its eyes to the world. Durdur reunite. After decades and decades of statelessness, they should have never stopped singing in the first place. All heels are off the floor, all etiquette and shame out the window, an invasion of colors and silk dresses, free mixing and twerking, mourning and celebrating, the gift of head wraps. The song talks of burning ships on Lido and Berbera. Smoke feels like it's at our feet. They sing about sunsets that actually touch us but feel so distant. They sing about genocide. Grandmothers are at the front of the stage. Tonight, they are back in 1980s Mogadishu. These songs are postage stamps commemorating the loss of their country. Thank you. The last poem I'm going to read is called Human Interactions. It is about this time I worked with a group of asylum seekers in Tower Hamlets, and this was the product out of it. Human Interactions. She hasn't been home for 20 years, hasn't crossed borders or rivers, draws lines between fiction and reality. Airport arrivals grant her more anxiety than departures do. Sometimes to leave is to stay afloat, is to keep your head above water and never return. Rivers cross themselves over and over. They hold loved ones closest, confused rubber dinghies, faulty life jackets, and newborns. What would God think about your actions? She, the woman, screams to the ocean. The ocean swallows her and spits out. God is an immigration lawyer, doesn't want to hear another tragic story. They, the rivers, work in allegiance to the flag of the deceased. She, the woman, imagines an ocean not in conflict with survival, leaves behind her mother for 20 years, leaves behind the mountains of Sheikh, the golden sand of the Nii, the Mediterranean, builds herself into a bridge, promises to never allow anyone to die under her or to walk over her. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Samatar Elmi, and the first poem I'm going to do is a response to a wonderful photograph around the corner with a young man in the 60s, I believe, who's preparing himself for the seminary to become a priest. The wall. I know this wall, these bricks as old as the breath of God. He leans against the facade with a lightness that could be levitation or desperation. It's in the way he shifts his weight. I know what he listens for. The word of a shepherd who once rested on the wall. The quiet rush of rivers, the shower of apples that could only flow or fall in such a place. I know this priest. It's his turn to lean, gaze back into a world of loss and renunciation. He hears his own footsteps in the long grass, and it warms his cold feet. When it was my turn to lean against the wall, I kissed these bricks bloody, the intimacy of my hands behind my back. I cut my name into the masonry, beside those of saints and rogues, a mimetic, a Madeline, a pinching of skin. England is freezing, and I doubt that either of us could feel our feet. I tried to ignore the clamour behind the wall, locks bolting, film rolling, the incessant droning of ghosts. I do not know this man. I do not know this man. I do not know this man. This hat and gown, this cap and hoodie, our black silhouettes, the damned, the holy. I tried to piece together the old ceramic shards scattered along the wall, that maybe if I could make the figure whole again, the shepherd would say a promised prayer. and the wall would disappear. But what if the only remembered spells were I do not know these men, I do not know these men, I do not know these men. Thank you very much. I'm going to read a couple more from my collection, and this poem is in response to Sylvia Plath, one of her poems. Portrait of Colossus as an immigrant. I picture him fixed in stride across wandering oceans, a bridge, reluctant between immovable banks, wedged like a fallen tree, an angel. It's a footing that keeps him sentinel and sleepless, knowing a slip in the east is all it takes to bring him to his knees, then face down into Rome. I want to scale his limbs, sit in the brass of his ear, whisper on the similitudes of the world, how at such great heights all language is a blur, people indistinguishable as fields of corn, sand. But he's all eyes on the water, its movement and liberty, the trick of being everywhere at once. Thank you. And where is it now? I need a better system for this. Paradise. On nights we need reminding of our luck. Let's follow in the spirit of the Abyssinian bloke who lived in our much maligned tower block, walked through corridors wound like a souk, past hutches, hot boxes, through smoke and mist. The felt tip tags and murals, the pissed up in stairwells, the piss stench of steps, the wrinkled Johnnies, abandoned crepes. Recall how he tapped you on the shoulder, pointing to the lights behind the balcony, convinced that the city was in the eye of the beholder. Recall his description of the Great Rift Valley, how the infinite horizon is an incarceration, how one man's paradise is another's prison. Thank you very much.